Hi, y'all. Welcome to the GradMissions Office Hours podcast. I'm Autumn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lizanne.
And Logan is slacking this week. Just kidding. She's traveling. So you're stuck with the two law dorks, which means we are going to talk all law all the time.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
are coming to you hot off the presses. Dee. We've got the latest breaking LSAC numbers. Today is Wednesday, October 29th. And the latest application trends to law school are in fuego. So,
Mhm.
as compared to 1 year ago, current year applicants, not LSAT takers, applicants, people who have hit submit on their law school app to start law school fall 2026, are up 29.1% over last year at this time in the cycle. As compared to 2 years ago, the current year applicants are up 72.4%. 72.4.
Mhm.
Lizanne, what does this mean?
Yeah. It means that if you haven't gotten your application together yet, and if you haven't taken the LSAT yet, you probably want to consider waiting until next year because that deadline may say March 15th, but really the deadline is soonish.
November 30th.
Because, uh, yes, it's just way too many applications and you've got to get it in as early as possible to actually be considered.
That's right. We are getting our word from the inside at top schools is that they are over enrolled by up to 100 students in their law school already. So they are not going to make extra room in this class. Their career services offices will quit. Their 1L faculty will leave. There
Yeah,
is
like
not
the whole student services suite is probably, yeah, on the line here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not enough capacity. So what we saw last cycle is historic stagnation in transfers, right? Top law schools saw this incoming wave, admitted thinking that there would be some shifting out. Folks, there was no shifting. There was no melt last summer. Um, it Melt means people who've committed to the class who end up going somewhere else or getting into pharmacy school or doing something else. No, everybody stayed. And so these schools who were accustomed to people transferring out, to people dropping off from the 1L class, that didn't happen. And so what that means for the class of 2029 um, is that means folks starting fall 26 is that your classes are going to be very locked down. Like there's not a lot of wiggle room.
Absolutely. And for scholarship negotiation too, just the earlier for scholarship consideration and all of that, like your application has to be in this fall for that. And that's a lot of what we talk about too, not just admissions, but scholarship, being able to afford going to law school and not being chained to tons and tons of debt. So those conversations are happening a lot earlier. Just everything has shifted to it is a now. The time is now.
That's right. So I know we're going to talk about our Admissions Accelerator, which is our springboard for people who want to go to law school. Whether you are graduating high school this May or you are a rising, you'll be a senior next year in undergrad, the Admissions Accelerator is the GradMissions solution for you to be ready to go to law school and to do it well. But before we get into that, I just want to tell a quick story about a client who just started working with us. She had taken the LSAT in October, was waiting for her score. We did a free discovery call. So application strategy call. We met for 20 minutes. She kind of caught me up with what she'd been doing. I packed in as much strategy as I could, talked to her about what it would be for us to work together, sent her an email with all that strategy. She followed up and said, yes, let's go. She paid, signed her client agreement, and we had her 1 hour intensive. During the 1 hour intensive, it fell the day after October LSAT scores released. If you took the October LSAT score, if you took the October LSAT, you know what I'm about to say. Her score was probably 9 points lower than she had been practice testing, right? That October test was a doozy.
Yeah.
And she was like, what do I do? It was a fine LSAT score, but it wasn't going to get her where she needed to be. She has T14 aspirations. And so she was like, I think I should wait a year. And I said, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Because even if she retakes the LSAT in January, and I would go ahead and have her apply right now, If she retakes the LSAT in January, a lot of those classes are already going to be full before that January score posts. So
Agree.
if you're taking a vanity retake in January and you're already in the ballpark of being admitted, okay, apply. Like, let's see what happens. But if you have not hit submit on your application by Thanksgiving and
Mhm.
you're taking a January LSAT, you might as well just hold your horses and apply September 1.
Right.
Yeah. And guess what, Lizanne? She'd already paid. What happens to her?
Mm. We stay with her.
She gets 2 years for the price of one.
Right.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
committed to her until she starts law school.
That's
And that is
not have
something
to
I
wait.
no, and it's something I'm really proud of. That's how we get our 100% success rate. As we
Right.
stay with you until you're admitted.
Right.
Okay, easy. I It brings the most transparency in our work. It makes sure that you know that we are being the most honest with you possible because we're going to be standing beside you, working diligently with you until you're in to the law school or med school that you want to go to.
Absolutely. And we're meeting today because she's has the bandwidth to do the rest of the application, even though she's waiting. So when that application for next year rolls around, she's going to be able to submit day one. Uh,
Day one. Beautifully marinated essays, strategic school list. She has us alongside for LSAT accountability. And she's going to use this year to visit the schools that she's thinking about going to make connections with students who are there. Like, we are able to be so strategic about what she is doing in this gap year. And she never has to worry about anything because she can always text us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that you are a college freshman.
Mhm.
You're thinking that in the future you want to go either to law school or to med school. You're thinking law school. Let's just say law school. You know that you have a pre-law advisor. There's a pre-law club at your school. You're going to take some poli-sci classes, and that's about it. And you're looking at this LSAC map showing the way that application numbers are trending, and you're scared that you're not going to make it. What's the best course of action, Lizanne?
Well, obviously, the best course is to book an admissions accelerator with GradMissions. And the reason for that is, yeah, all of those things are great that you mentioned, Autumn, having a pre-law advisor, pre-law no, society club, whatever they call it. Those are great, but they are not going to provide the in-depth advice and strategy that you need looking at this map of how competitive law school is.
Mhm.
Obviously, we believe in you. We're 1,000% in your corner, and we're going to provide the complete strategy to help you these next 3 years so that end of your junior year, you're ready to click submit. And so, and you're ready that senior year to submit in September and spend your senior year actually, you know, enjoying your last year of college, being involved on campus, obviously
Not
staying.
scrambling for the LSAT and
Right.
trying to write your personal statement over spring break.
Exactly. And you're able to focus on your classes. A lot of you will be student teaching, have your capstone, all the things, and you're not
Go
trying.
to a tailgate. Have
Yes,
some fun.
absolutely. And you're not juggling all these things and just absolutely stressed, and your application will suffer because of that. So advisors, pre-law advisors, they may be, this is being generous, get like an hour per student per semester, if that.
I
Um,
think the national average, I actually looked this up, is 17 minutes a year for the students in
so
their
not
little.
2 hours a year.
Mhm.
Yes, and they don't have that because they're teaching, they're advising their other, students within not just pre-law, but within specific majors. A lot of times they'll clump the pre-law advisor in with a certain department. And so they just, not that they're not willing or not capable, but they just don't have the time.
They're under-resourced.
1,000%. And they don't have their finger on the pulse like we do. And looking at the exact, so yes, you can look on LSEC's website and they can say, okay, you need these things, but they don't know exactly what the schools are looking for when it comes to a personal statement. They don't know exactly how to draft a legal resume. They don't they can't sit down with you for an hour and learn your story about why you want to go to law school, what you want to do with that degree. We can. And so we can, advise you on the best course of action and so that you are ready even in that freshman year of okay, I'm going to stack my courses this way. I'm going to think about the LSAT at this time, not necessarily the common time to take the LSAT, which is June, which is a terrible time to take the LSAT.
The word. The June LSAT is cursed. Don't take
Yeah,
it.
don't take it.
Take
Everyone,
it in August.
yeah,
Calm down.
yes, everyone thinks you have to take it in June. So just all the things that we subtract the noise
Mhm.
and give you the true advice, the true strategy
For you.
for you.
Customized for you. Because the thing about being a pre-law advisor or a pre-med advisor, we love you. You are doing the Lord's work. I would buy you a Nutella latte right now if I could do it. But you are under-resourced pre-law pre-med advisors. And ethically, you have to tell all of your students equitable information, which
Right,
means you are delivering a sameness as you should, right? Like you answer to the university that employs you. And that university has employed you to distribute information and educate people on how to apply, not
right,
how to build their application.
for sure. And Autumn and I have been on that side of the table, right? Where we were employed by universities
Well,
and
but we worked for law school, so that's even a different layer of this, right? So those are the other, yes, exactly.
so we've seen where it's like, oh, I really want to tell you this, but I can't. And obviously, like Autumn was saying, because we work for specific law schools, there was, restrictions and things. But even the same restrictions for these pre-law advisors, they don't have the bandwidth to sit down with you and strategize a personal timeline for you. So they are restricted by time, other responsibilities. And so that's why GradMissions is created. Partly why is because we're able to speak with students personally about and honestly about their specific story and journey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, I hear a lot of folks online talking about parents, right? Like I'm in a lot of parent groups because I have a kiddo who's 18. And so I'm in all these parent groups and they're like, oh, just, email the law schools. That's a great idea. You should definitely talk to the law schools you're interested in going to. But who pays their paycheck?
Right.
The law school. Like at the end of the day, they're not going to talk to you about the nuances of negotiating scholarship. They're not going to talk to you about the right that you have to hold on to your admissions offers until April 1. They're not going to advise you of any of these things because they serve a different objective than getting you into the best law school for you for the lowest price. None of these folks who are available to you have the exact motivation that we do because our number one goal at Grad Missions is for you to be
Mhm.
happy at the law school that you're going to and to be going there paying the least amount of money possible. The end. Like that's the whole point of what we do. And you pay our paychecks. Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah, and two, emailing the law schools, truthfully, they're not going to give you much time unless you're an applicant. So they're going to say, oh, well, that's great that, freshman is really interested, but there's really only so much. Like, here's a flyer about our clinics. Oh, you think you might be interested in criminal law? Like, they are not going to be able to give you in-depth information about the school at that point. They really aren't. And
Yeah.
so we are
Yeah.
and able to tell you those things. And a big question that I have with our students who are starting early, which is great. First of all, our students who are starting quote unquote later, like they always say, I wish I would have started this earlier. And
Mhm.
so that's a big thing for us. When I'm working with a student who is younger, they are thinking, I've got to do the pre-law club. I've got to work at a law firm. I've got to have a political science minor.
Mhm.
All these things. Again, just the noise. And it's well intentioned, right? It's well, you're thinking about law school, add these law school-esque things to your time during undergrad. Pick this certain major. And again, we help you cut through that noise to really choose what's best for you. If you don't enjoy, economics, don't go after that legal studies minor. Or, if you don't enjoy politics, don't choose poli sci as your major. So being able to kind of see people's shoulders relax of like, okay, I was thinking about law school, but I just don't know if I check all the boxes. And it's like, you do.
Yeah.
The boxes were wrong.
The
Um,
boxes are going to lead you to a sameness that is
yes.
going to be in the homogeneous stack of blah that admissions officers read and are like, okay, great. I've got 47 of these that I read today. And then they read one of our sparkly, fun, magic, showing up authentically kind of applications, and they're like, admit full scholarship. And that's what we see happen. It's not magic. We just help you tell your story better. So This admissions accelerator is something that I didn't even know that we would offer at GradMissions. Like my plan was to help people was to shepherd people through the actual application process. That's what I love to do. This is great. But what I kept having is parents and clients come to me earlier in the process. They're not quite ready to like open their LSAC application and let us, share screen and go through those biographical questions together. But they want to know, how do I scaffold to get ready for that? And so the solution to that is our admissions accelerator. And it's kind of Lizanne's baby. You want to tell us about your baby, Lizanne?
Sure, of
She's so
course.
cute.
She is so cute. So the idea of the baby came from baby Lizanne when I was 18, and I knew very baby faced, still kind of am, but I knew I wanted to be an attorney, but I didn't. Again, those boxes. I'm like, I don't want to study this, that, or the other. And my parents were I'm a first generation college graduate, first generation attorney. My parents were very supportive, but they didn't know, what. And so I met with a lawyer in town. It was fine, just kind of. So it came from this idea of what would have been helpful for me and a lot of my friends and a lot of our clients in their late teens, early 20s, trying to think through what they want to be when they grow up. And you have this idea, or you have this passion, or you have this need that you want to fill, or you want to be a voice for this group, and you don't know exactly what that path would be. So being able to sit down with someone like me and say, this, you can choose this major because you enjoy that major and your GPA will be really stellar because it's a major that you care about and can see yourself excelling in. Don't join every club under the sun just to have this, choose clubs where you can, again, enjoy and feel passionate and have a leadership position eventually. You don't have to have legal experience if it's not going to be helpful to you. And so things like that. This is where the idea of it came along, is to sit down in that intensive, give students, an idea of coursework, of, developing meaningful mentor relationships, seeking out experiences that align with your, area of interest or future specialty. And also just reflect on who you are and what you're confident about, because at the end of the day, a really strong application comes from people who know who they are and what their goals are. And it, like Autumn said, it's not that homogenized, well, I did X, Y, and Z. Now, if you are poli sci and president of the pre-law club, that doesn't mean you're not going to be successful.
Right.
But just being really intentional about those 4 years of college, getting to you to where you're going, as opposed to floundering and, going off what Reddit says and, hurting your GPA because you take this really weird class that you think is going to fit in with a legal studies minor, so just having that confidence and that clarity early on so you can just take a breath and know you're where you're meant to be.
Yeah. And if you controversial opinion, if you are a poli sci major and you're the president of the pre-law club, I think you actually have more work to do in
Mhm.
your application to make yourself stand out because yeah, you and 800 others, like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you're passionate about that, but like there's nothing unique about that. And admissions committees are looking for ways to really make their class unique and differentiated and not diversity for diversity's sake. But there's a lot of reasons, and we can go into that later. Deliverables on the admissions accelerator. So, how you would start that is you would book a 20-minute application strategy call with Lizanne. She'll talk to you about your story, talk to you about kind of the glide path that she sees. There's a lot of value just in that 20-minute strategy call. We pack in as much strategy as we can.
And
If you
it's free.
decide, right, if you decide to sign up, it is $2,500 and it's a 30-day sprint. So, from the time that your intensive happens, you have 30 days of work with us. You will meet with Lizanne for 1 hour and she will take you through a lot of questions, a lot of soul searching, a lot of guidance. And then we build a grad missions portfolio for you. This is yours to keep forever and ever. And we'll build a roadmap that tells you semester by semester between now and your 1L orientation what you should do, action items, a grocery list, of
Okay.
things, coursework you should take, experiences you should consider, um, best advice about how to engage with future letter writers, building those relationships, how to spend your summers, when to prep for the LSAT, strategic school list, and then we'll also provide a template for your law school resume so you can kind of know what you're aiming for. And then we also will give you kind of a heads up about what to expect on essays from your law school application, not just that personal statement and perspective statement, but what can those supplementals look like so that as you're living your life over the next, 2 to 4 years, you know what you're going to have to write about. So you can be journaling, you can be kind of prepping so that your future self is ready. And then you get email and text support for 30 days to kind of reframe, make sure that this plan that we set out for you is working if you have questions, things like that. And then we have packages that go on if you want to continue that relationship, and we can talk about that later. But the Admissions Accelerator really is, I'm so proud of our work there and that we're giving people that springboard.
Absolutely. And we can also talk about accommodations. So listen to our last podcast about accommodations if you want to know about that. But that's something that we're very passionate about here and are happy to talk with students about during their intensive.
Right. And if you are an Admissions Accelerator client and decide to come on into our full package when you're ready to apply that curated application, you get 10% off. So um, there is a lot of rhetoric around right now about applications to law school. Your friends in your classes are going to be flapping around and talking about how many legal internships they've had. As Lizanne has so eloquently put so many times in this episode, it's noise. And the
Yeah,
people who are the noisiest are typically the least qualified. So you just worry about you, book a free strategy call with Lizanne, and we can get you on the right track.
absolutely.
Thanks, y'all.